And I don't see them actually doing that. I mean, there are similarities, but if the writers want to go down that direction, I don't think that would necessarily be a good direction for the show. I mean, you guys are unique.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
You guys are unique, and the way you're approaching this at this point in time. I didn't know what to make of the show the first couple of episodes, but the mythology has been there. It's really come unto its own in a very short period of time, popularity-wise, with the mythology and the whole shot. So I think you guys are just fine on your own. But there's naturally the comparisons with Buffy, as well as the other show. Slipping my tongue in. Help me out here real quickly.
Are you talking about Once Upon a Time?
Yes, exactly. Once Upon a Time, which I've never seen either.
Yeah, I have. I think I saw one episode of Once Upon a Time when we were first starting this show, and before anything had ever aired. And we were at Comic-Con. They were so many questions about comparisons, and we just kept saying it's so not that, because here's the thing with Once Upon a Time happens in two worlds, and ours kind of happens in one world,
Right.
and we were just we're talking about our show being it happens in the real world, and everything happens in the real world, and how you deal with that in the real world, where I believe theirs kind of flips back and forth. So it's definitely a different direction. And Michael, to expand on what you were saying before, Jim Kauf and David Greenwald, especially Jim, is so high on story. I mean, I believe he was an English lit major, and he's so great about story that with this particular storyline in the mythology, they were in it from the beginning to go that direction. And I think with Buffy, it was like, finally they've got this posse and they go and solve crime. With this, I think there are going to be so many conflicts that happen, and I think that's what is going to be the juicy part eventually, hopefully in season 2, that they're going to really, really dig into that. So we'll see where it goes, but I think there's a lot to come that's going to really differentiate it from anything they've done before. Like Buffy or like Angel.
Right. Well, with regard to the conflict, I'll say this one thing and then pass it back over to you, Ann. With regard to the conflict, I think there's been a couple of stories that have happened this season thus far that the conflict has been, at a 9 or a 10, and which has been really surprising to me. Three Coins, the Fushbach, was one of those where I was gushing over that episode. That was just an incredible episode with regard to story, especially with the Hitler reference in there. I never even saw that coming outside of the little mention. But I mean, you guys have got it going on when it comes to conflict on a couple levels.
Yeah, it's really that was a great that was written by David and Jim, and well, I mean, everyone writes it, but they basically came up with that story. And man, when I read that last page, I was like, no, you're kidding. But and I thought it was a great episode that was, I think, the best, to me, mythological episode yet in terms of mythology.
Right there with you.
You really got a sense of where they were going, specifically with what was going on with the captain and with the coins and all that kind of stuff. Suddenly some history started surfacing in terms of these characters and what this being a Grimm really was all about. So that's where I hope they go, and I think it is their hope and their wish to go that direction. I don't know where. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, so there's a lot of people that need to chime in, and sometimes they can't go full force for what they really, really want. But I think that having this first season under our belt, people are starting to see that there's really something to this series. There's something that could really, really happen here, and people are catching on. So I think now they're giving them more free reign to do what they want to do. So we'll see where that goes. We're all really excited about where it's going to go. So sometimes we get episodes that are more procedural heavy, and specifically I go, oh no, I want more of the other stuff.
Well, there's got to be a little give and go, but with regard to the procedural and the mythology. But I think you got a nice little mix going. So we're enjoying it. Believe me, we're enjoying it.
Thanks, Michael.
Ann, back over to you.
All right, these are my final two questions.
Sure.
And I'll hit it back. But you mentioned that Greenwald is kind of going in a brand new trajectory for season 2, and it's going to be mind-blowingly awesome that our minds will implode and explode and re-implode again. So, can you give us hints for what will happen in season 2?
Oh my God, Anita, I don't even have hints. I don't even know. But I love how you phrased that. I loved it. She's
wily, Reggie. You got to watch her.
I'm gonna see Greenwald actually on Saturday, and may I use that sentence? I'm gonna say that.
Go for it.
We need their minds to implode, explode, and then implode again. So I just believe that they're going to go more in a mythological pattern this next season. And there are certain things when a series starts off that everyone's a little bit cautious, I think, in terms of because it becomes a ratings game, and you try to figure out how to get viewers. And so once you've got them, I think you go, okay, now we can go full force in the direction that we really want it to go. And I'm hoping it's not a fact, but I'm hoping that they go in that direction, which would be the whole mythological aspect. So that's all I mean by that, is that I believe that they're going to go way in that direction. You'll find out more about each character, and there'll be more conflict.
Okay, that'll be awesome. And then my next question is, as you know, with most of these supernatural shows, with Buffy and Angel, you have people walking two lines of the tightrope. Or basically there are two worlds. And you're aware of, if you're in both worlds, you're aware of them. If you're not, you're only aware of the one world you live in. So I'm wondering, and I guess with Buffy, there's a moment you're watching the mother, she's going on, and she has blinders on. You're like, really? You don't see the vampire hanging out in your living room, really? But will we have that with Reggie Lee, where he'll start to notice that Nick is just a little bit erratic, or that there are too many supernatural or just too many weird occurrences? I just said Reggie Lee. I haven't started Lou.
That's okay. You can say Reggie Lee. I don't have a first name yet, by the way, so I'm going for Lou. Lou Wu.
Okay.
So,
Lou Wu. Nice.
That's my. I'm going to put that in the hat. Anyway, so it's I think that what you'll see more of is Nick's world kind of closing in on him in that aspect. It can't happen to everybody, because I think that would end the show quickly. I think it has to happen a little at a time. I think you'll start to see his world close in on him more as we get closer to the end of this first season. Him having to deal with people noticing more things here and there. I can't say who, but you'll see more of that.
All right, I'm going to guess for the girlfriend. All right, but I'm done. I'm going to guess for Bissy Tulloch's character. All right. Michael, all yours.
Yeah, I think I have one final question. I'm going to go off the beaten path here, get away from Grimm. I kind of have a personal question for you, Reggie. You're one of those actors that as soon as I saw you on Grimm, I said, you know what, I've seen him everywhere. One of the first things I saw you in that I can recall instantaneously as soon as I saw your name was attached to Grimm was No Ordinary Family. Yes, were you your doctor, I forgot the first name, but Childs, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, Dr. Francis Childs, yeah.
Francis Childs, yeah, exactly. But you're one of those guys that I've seen all over the place. I know you were in the latest Star Trek film.
Oh God!
I think you had a couple of stints in some of the Pirates movies, Pirates of the Caribbean flicks.
Yes.
Did I see that you're in? I don't know what kind of role you have in there, but you're in Dark Knight Rises that's coming up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know you had a stint in Prison Break.
I was on Prison Break.
So all of a sudden I'm saying, you know what? This guy's been all over the place. You've had a pretty varied career. So it kind of brings up the question, kind of a standby question that I have for interviews. Is it true in your case, or is there something we don't know you'd like to comment on about an actor having the favorite thing that they're working on is what they're working on right now? Or is there something in the past that has really been a favorite or really stands out for you? Or is Grimm, it's the here and now and you're all gung-ho about it?
There are a lot of, for me, whatever I'm working on, I have to kind of dig, and it becomes my life for a while. There are certain characters and certain experiences that I've had that have had more of a varied emotional path that I really like. And I have to say, as an Asian American actor, as a minority actor, as an actor that is a minority, I feel like it's getting better. But it's almost like you're afforded some of these roles that are quote unquote, I'd have to say stereotypical, and then there's always the ones that aren't. And I think the ones that aren't are always my favorite. This role right now, there are certain episodes like the ones you'll see that are coming up that have really given me room to play and to experience viscerally a lot of things that normally in other roles where, say, I play Chow Yun-fat's sidekick in Pirates, you're not given a lot. There's not a lot of depth that you're afforded. There will be a lot more of that coming up in Grimm, which is why I love it here. And this was never really written for. It was never. They created it for me. So I really love what I'm doing now. There's a film coming up that I did. It's called Safe, and it's actually I filmed it in Philly. That's the one I filmed in Philly, and it's with Jason Statham. And I was offered this role to play kind of his villain, and I thought, oh no, another
stereotypical role.
Yeah, and then I read the script, and I was really floored by this experience, because it was this guy who is put into a situation where this is what he knows to do, yet he has a lot of emotional depth, because what he does is he ends up being with this little 10-year-old girl for about a year that he has to use for these crimes, yet he starts to have feelings for her like she is his daughter. So there are things like that role to me has been really fun for me. That I look back at that experience and I think, wow, that I don't know if I'll ever have something like that again, and that has yet to come out. That's actually coming out end of April. So that has been my favorite thus far, and Grimm, because it's what I'm working on now, and David Greenwalt and Jim Kauf, the way they write for me and the things that are coming up with my character have really given me a chance to be not just an Asian American in society, but a human being. So that's really been great for me.
Good.
Does that answer stuff, Michael?
For the most part, but I have just one final question, a little follow-up question on that. So what you're saying is those non-stereotypical roles are the highlights. So I'm wondering how the role that you had as a dancer in Psycho Beach Party kind of fits in there.
Oh my God! Okay. Let me put it this way.
Digging deep.
I was asked to choreograph that, So the only reason I put myself in was because I was like that, and that was interesting because that was a long time ago. And you know who I choreographed it for? Amy Adams.
Really? That's right. She was in that flick.
Yeah. They were like, "Can you choreograph this dance for Amy and a bunch of guys with her?" And I thought, "Yeah, that's good. That'll be great. It'll be fun." And she was just this little thing, fresh. I think she's from Oklahoma or somewhere, but she's nice as can be. That's the reason I took it, because I was going to choreograph it. But that's hysterical that you know.
I always knew that there was a little backstory in there on something like that, and I needed to bring that out of you. So
that's a highlight in my career. A lot of
that's all I wanted to hear, Reggie. I wanted to hear that was a highlight of your career. That's all I wanted to hear.
You may quote me on that.
We will do that, definitely. And go ahead.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Reggie.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate your setting aside the time. And
you guys, I love you guys a lot. Anytime. You guys want to talk anytime, just let Bradley know, because you have his contact info, right?
Yes.
My publicist? Okay, good.
Reggie, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time out. Definitely been a pleasure. Can't thank you enough.
Anytime, Michael.
All right.
Anytime.
All right, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your coffee.
Okay. Bye, Anita. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.